Hello everyone and welcome back to DeyoTalks. As usual, it is myself, Mary Deyo. How's everybody feeling? Hope you guys are well. I hope you heard that. I have someone in the studio with me today, but we'll get to my guests in a little bit. I thought I'd just say a big welcome to everyone that's listening or anyone that's here for the first time. Thank you so much for joining. It's lovely to have you here and I hope that you stick around in this journey with us. DeyoTalks is a space where we share vulnerable stories. It's where we share our experiences and I hope that someone listening out there can be inspired, someone listening out there can be motivated, or maybe you can just take a word and hold on to for the rest of your life. You never know. Okay, let's get into today's episode. If you haven't, please go back and listen to the last episode. In the last episode, I talked about desperation/desire and talking about where I kind of stand. I'm single, as I've said many times, and I was talking about whether right now my eagerness for like wanting to get married is more on the desire side or whether I'm just desperate to just, get married and be a wife and be a mother. You never know. But yeah, if you haven't listened, please go back and listen to that because today we're going to be talking about marriage. Yes. I mentioned in my last episode that I'm not qualified to talk about marriage because I'm not married. So I have a lovely guest with me today to discuss marriage. Let's give it up for Aunty Funke. How are you, Aunty?
I'm fine.
How are you?
I'm fine.
I thought if someone asked you to describe yourself, what would you say? Yeah, if someone said, who's Aunty Funke? What would you say?
Who's Aunty Funke?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll take from Book of Judges because
Okay.
when they talk about Deborah,
Nice.
I'm a mother.
Nice.
I'm a daughter of God. I hope I please God.
Mm.
I'm a mother to many other people, and I totally really enjoy that. And I'm a friend to whoever wants me to be a friend to them. And that's it. I love reading. That's more describing me. You said, who am I?
Yes.
I'm a reader. In my head, I'm an actress, production person. I'm a lot of them. I'm a singer in the choir as well. So I'm a lot of things go on about who I am in my head. But to the world,
Yes.
I'm Toby Areni's mom.
Nice.
The Manor Women's mom.
Yes.
And friend, I hope.
Yeah.
And yes, like I said, I try to be, like Paul said, someone to you, whoever you are, as best as I can without compromising myself or yourself, I guess.
Would you say that you're a teacher as well?
I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
Yes.
I thought that.
I'm actually a teacher, or I'd like very much to be known as a teacher.
Nice.
So, yes.
Have you ever thought about teaching?
Many times.
Really? So why did you get into it?
I just didn't get into it. In fact, a friend of mine came last month and said, I told you to teach. Because when you start a career, and I've changed careers 1 or 2 times, you think, I'm moving again, and you think, do you really want to teach? And I did want to teach, but I somehow didn't see, I don't know what I didn't see in it. So I just didn't teach. But I do like to create content to teach people. Yeah. So I don't like to go into somewhere to teach someone and not have thought about it. But when I'm there, I try to pull in things and somehow I wing it all the time. But so I should have been a teacher, I think, when I was changing careers.
You don't regret it though?
No, not really, because then I teach, I force
in other ways.
You guys to listen to me.
Yeah. I mean, you don't force. But...
I make people, I teach people.
Good.
Yes.
Nice. That's nice. Okay, so Aunty, as you know, we're going to be talking about marriage.
Yes.
But before we get into it, I thought I'll throw out some statements and then you pick one or the other. You don't have to give you a reason for picking it.
Okay.
And they're all to do with the topic anyway. Okay. So nothing that's going to like throw you off, so don't worry. But before that, how are you?
I'm good.
You sure?
I'm actually pretty good.
Good.
Yes, a bit tired this morning because I went out yesterday to an old school event. So we were all there. We all finished school at the same time many months ago. So we met and we had a nice time. But I'm tired, but I'm good.
Good. Yeah. All right, let's get into these statements. So, Aunty, living together or dating with separate spaces?
Reflection now, dating with separate spaces.
Interesting. We're going to come back to that. That's good. Big wedding or small intimate ceremony?
Small intimate ceremony.
Okay. Separate friends or same friends?
Both.
Oh.
Really both.
Interesting. Okay. Traditional roles or defining your own as a couple?
Defining your own.
Couples therapy or DIY communication?
Reflection, couples therapy.
I love the reflection. Love or respect, which keeps a marriage stronger?
Wow. Love. Because when you love someone, you respect them.
Okay. Oh, that's
I was
going to
say respect, but
Yeah.
love, and I don't mean in love. I mean love.
Okay. We'll come back to that as well,
Okay.
actually. So that's two things we're going to come back to. So passion or peace, which matters more long term?
Peace.
Okay. Transparency about everything or keeping a few harmless secrets?
On reflection, I think transparency. If you love, transparency, yes.
Okay, we'll come back to that one too. Marrying your best friend or someone completely different from you?
Let's not do on reflection again. If you can, marry your best friend.
Doing long distance for opportunity or sticking together no matter what?
Whoa. Doing long distance.
Okay.
I didn't finish.
Okay, sorry.
Sorry. Sticking together. Stick together.
Maybe we'll come back to that one as well, actually. It'll be interesting to talk about that.
Related to me very much. So.
Okay. Why don't we start with that, actually?
Yes.
Why did you kind of struggle to pick?
Because I think when I was young and the person I married and where we were, seeking opportunity was very important. And I still think it's very important. So that question was too black and white. But I think whilst you're seeking opportunities, stick together. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Find a way to just stick together. Someone may have to go somewhere, but in that time, plan how you'll be together. I mean, I've got experiences which you probably can't talk about now of people who probably learned from me and others, and they ate together whilst he lived in Dubai because they would be on, it was webcam in those days. 7:00, he would sit there, they would sit there, the children are doing the homework, you'll be working, I'm teaching the children at home. So they were separated, but they were sticking together.
Yeah.
Whereas many people, the person goes off, it's not that you're not in touch, but they don't know maybe what you've done for 2-3 days. They ate together almost every evening. Nice. And she said, I learned from you and Simba. As in, I'm not making your mistakes. If you can.
Why was it? Why, like, upon reflection now, you probably would say that maybe seeking opportunities wasn't like a good idea, maybe in your case?
It was a good idea.
Okay.
It was a good idea because it's what helped us live the life we could live.
Yeah.
I think, but we were too simplistic.
In what way?
We just thought it'll all work out. You have to be intentional. You have to understand the risks involved. I didn't really think, I mean, I probably did think there was some risk, but I just thought, we'll get through it and it's going to be really good because, you know, he was so passionate about the work and I knew it would be lucrative, let me put it that way. And I knew we'd have a good life. But then with that comes a lot of challenges, which you've got to find ways to make it work. We talked a lot. We traveled a lot there, or he came a lot. But I think there were too many gaps that allowed each person to grow in their own way, separately, yes.
Do you think age had a part to play in it?
The age we were then? Not really. We were in our 30s. I think if you know what you're doing, 30s is good enough to know what you're doing, if you know what I mean. Yeah, we went 22 or 23.
Yeah.
You know, we're in our 30s. We have 2 children. So when you understand what you're doing, wherever you go, find a way to make it work. It doesn't have to be what they did. Yeah. But, yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's go back to the first one that you said. So I think it was living together or dating with separate spaces. Yes. And you said dating with separate spaces upon reflection?
Yes, very much so. Because I think if you're dating with separate spaces, if things happen, you can give yourselves time. You're not breaking up. And I don't mean separate spaces means we're fighting always. But you can go home sometimes and you can reflect on your own and some anxiety is removed. When you're together, you think, if anything happens or what's going to happen. But when you're already living separately and you can think about things, you can even enjoy the person outside of being together and you can reflect on that person outside of being together. Because if we have an argument now and you quickly make up, you almost forget that issue and don't deal with it. It's not all about issues. I think it's also about where are you is a nice thing. Oh, where have you been? Not that I know she's in the room next door. Yeah. Every minute that you can tell him something that you wouldn't tell him if you're living together. I mean, you can come home and tell him things, but even 5 minutes, something can happen to you when someone isn't there. Yeah. That you can share and you can grow yourself. You can reflect on yourself without feeling that it's time to just sort things out or it's time to talk about something else. Yeah. And when you live separately, I think you learn a lot about yourself. So I think I would not recommend living together if you can. You know, sometimes some people have to for financial reasons. Yeah. But really, if you've done it all, they have all the phrases of if you've done this, then what, So,
Just to clarify, living together, that's before marriage.
Yeah,
because
I know.
obviously when you're
it's before marriage. Not that when you're married. I mean, now I would live separately married. But no, living together before marriage. If you don't have to, don't.
Just don't do it.
Yeah.
When you were explaining that, you mentioned reflection or reflect quite a lot. Why is that important?
We lived together before we married, and it was good. There's so many advantages to it because we grew together. We did things together. He was starting out, self-employed. So I was there pretending to be like the accountant or someone to talk things through at any time. It's good. So you could think of something at a certain time and they'd ask me. I would think of things. I used to do this. Can I clarify? It could be at 2 a.m. or something. So those things are good. But I feel that there was a bit of anxiety there as well. For me, I don't know about him, of... let me sort this out because we're in the same space. When really sometimes I needed to step away from it at the time. And then all our experiences were around each other, which is good. We're going to get married. So let's wait till then. I should have been bringing other experiences with my friends. I still went out. But you know what I mean? There's just little things can happen at any time that you can then say, you won't believe this or I reacted this way to this. Yeah. I think you need your space. Because if you're close and you think you love each other, why don't you just... grow and wait.
Separately. I agree with you. I agree. I agree with you. I'm just thinking, I agree with you.
I mean, obviously some people, they say things like, well, we've planned the wedding, we're getting married, we're now consolidating our money and doing things. That's different. We lived together for maybe 4 years before we married, and some of it was out of necessity, which is also why I don't think sometimes it happens. Someone was out of necessity. I was about to move home. And it was just a casual comment that, where are you even moving to now? Just moving here. So it wasn't like I sat there and I thought, oh, let's move in. Let's plan. I just stumbled into moving in because I was moving from one place. And I don't think we were both really ready. We had a fantastic time. But reflection, I think I should have lived alone and he should have lived alone.
I agree with you. I think when I was younger, I used to think, it probably makes sense to just live together because then you get to see things, you get to see what they're like before you like moving together. But I can see how it's not ideal, and I can see how it can cause a lot of unnecessary things that don't need to happen. Do you know what I mean? But then somebody else's argument could be, okay, well then if it didn't work out with you guys living together, like what makes you think that if you get married that it would? So maybe that's a good experience for you to do that, because then you get to see whether it actually work or not. Yes, but
then you lose some things in those 4 years if it doesn't work. And I'm not saying that you should hold something back that in case I lose something. But I think if you're going to, maybe because we also come from a Christian background. So that sort of plays something into it, that when we get married, we've said to ourselves, we're married now, we're going to be intentional. You should be intentional in a relationship, but there's room to learn about the person and move away. If you've lived with someone for, let's say 4 years, and they start to see things, I promise you, some of us will not budge from that relationship. I've put 4 years into it. We've got this place, even if you don't get it together. And then you're seeing things, you think, we'll sort it out. Because so I'm going to now go and look for a flat, or my mom that knows this address, or things that I'm going to say, Mom, I've moved out. So things that you should shed, you probably may not shed it. It's not everybody that's like that. I'm just being transparent.
No, I agree.
So
love that. Okay. What was the other one you said? Was it traditional roles or defining your own as a couple? Yes, you said defining your own as a couple. Was that upon reflection as well, or you just
not quite? We were sort of defined. It's only when the monster comes up that becomes, you're so not subservient. I think traditional roles are created by people. I think if you go to India, it's done differently. If you go to France, they have their traditional roles. Society has created that for us. And I think you can't shake it. So people stick so tightly, so closely to that it doesn't allow them to define what they want. In a marriage, before you go into a marriage, you should even be defining what you want in your head. So if you've already decided the traditional role is that women only do this, men only do this, you're setting yourself up. The two of you know each other. Sometimes it's really the man that's so domesticated. But if you've decided that, you're just going to be a really bad wife because you're not domesticated. He's the one that's domesticated. Let him do those things if both of you agree. But when we define these roles, we set ourselves up to fail, I think. Agree. But I do know that there's some things, a man is a man, a woman is a woman. So some things are defined for us just by nature. But all the other things, it's society. And many times, and society defined it, men defined a lot of it in the years ago. Do you see what I mean? So when you now, you're in a totally different world. You guys are in a different world even from me.
Yeah.
Sticking to some defined role that's created by people, not even my generation, say my dad's generation, that's not going to work for you now, is already a problem.
Yeah.
But there are things, like I said, that's naturally defined. God has also defined some things for us.
Yes.
So those ones are there. But yeah.
Okay. All right, let's do this last one. This one. Transparency about everything or transparency about everything or keeping a few harmless secrets. Now, I mean, this one's an interesting one because I guess when people talk about transparency about everything or, keeping a few secrets when it comes to marriage, I guess the thing that comes to mind is potentially it's money, isn't it? Like, especially if a woman is earning more. The question is, should I be hiding? Should I be hiding how much I'm earning, from my husband?
If we come from that, no, it's never going to work. Because when you're earning more and you're hiding it, why are you hiding it? Because you want to do some things with it that you think he's not worthy of or he shouldn't have. That's already a problem. And I'm not saying, because I'll tell you, it wasn't my mother, it was my friend's mother-in-law. She said to my friend, she said, make sure you have your own account separate so that you keep some things. It's not a problem. And I really bought into that. And I promised to sort of buy into that. But if I was advising people, and I've done premarital course counseling, premarital counseling course.
Okay. I didn't even hear the course part.
Read it, looked into it, done a course so that if I ever was going to do that, I would know what to do. One of the things that's talked about, and because you're talking of money, because little secrets are very many, but one of the things you're talking about is money, it's so important, not necessarily to know exactly the money, but to know how both of you spend money or are with money. And if there's love, I know we're not talking of in love now. If there's that love and there's kindness, you will know. My dad knew my mom. Mama, if you give your mom tapas, she will spend it before she leaves the house. So he knew, and there was that standing joke. Mama said, oh, he's so stingy. But they managed it because they were aware of each other. If you form or put on a way you behave, it will still come out. And when it comes out, it come out in a time that's going to really then affect the marriage more than it would when you know each other. Earning more, you have to say you earn more, because when you're earning more, you have certain expectations of how things should be done. You may keep quiet about it now. It will soon come out, and then that'll cause friction. Many women earn more. We're in this society here where, let's be truthful, like we're speaking of our men, black men and things like that. Some of them don't really get the opportunities that for some reason women get, because it's easier for a man to get in and then she can rise. We do struggle with those things, let's be truthful. And many men go into careers where they can only earn so much. If my husband's an engineer, I don't know what they earn now. Probably in our time, maybe 70,000 is, wow, you're earning 70,000. If I was a lawyer at that time, I'm talking about, I'll be 70,000 maybe within 5-7 years. Then, I mean, now they don't earn 70,000. But then, whereas that's the peak of an engineer's career then. So you're going to earn more. It's understanding each other. It's respecting each other that matters. And the other little things, it depends what you call secrets, I guess.
Okay, tell us what's the secret and what isn't.
I think, this one is a bit sensitive as well.
Okay.
So there's some things that maybe they do in my family.
Okay.
I don't necessarily share with my husband. But he could stand up and say, that's a secret. So why didn't you tell me that? But I don't really want to discuss because what I say is it's not my story. That's how I put
but it is your story. It's your family.
Yes, it's not my sister's story. So if I'm telling you this or things, but those little foxes, so let's say now you're a bit responsible for your side of the family and you don't say. Then he'll think, why is she not, why is the money, what are you doing with this money? He doesn't necessarily want it. So let him know the ajaga around your neck, let's say. And it's always ajaga. It could just be the love, what you share with your family, because it will affect things. Because if he then thinks that, why aren't you contributing to some things? You have other things. So little things like that, or my ex is my best friend. That's a secret, Don't.
That shouldn't
but some
be
people say things like, I just don't say we've known each other for long. And they really don't mean any harm, really. But if you're not telling someone about something, it can be a secret.
I agree. Yeah. It's a tricky one.
It is a tricky
one.
There's some things you just don't say. But you yourself know why you're not saying it. If you're not saying because you think it'll cause a problem, it's a secret.
Yes, that's very true.
If you're married to someone and you're saying that he won't be interested, check why.
Yeah. All right. Now, let's get into the questions that I have for you. So we've touched on quite a few things. Touched on transparency. We've touched on reflection. We've touched on friends and traditional roles and defining your own as a couple. Let's dive into the conversation a little bit. Okay, so what age did you get married? I remember in your 30s or in your 20s? I was
30, just almost. I was going to be 30 in July. I got married in April.
Oh, okay. So 29, 30. Okay. So what advice was given to you, looking back now, since we've reflected, that you realised maybe wasn't good for marriage?
I didn't get much advice.
Really?
One, I lived here. My parents lived in Nigeria. I wasn't surrounded by maybe aunties or friends, because my friends at that time, when we finished our education, most people went back. That was why we came here. We came to boarding school. We went to university. Most of us go back. Most people go back to Nigeria. So when I was here, my close friends had all gone back. So I just told them, oh, I'm getting married. And they happened to know him because we all moved in the same circle, because we all came here together. We did everything together. Yeah. But with my mom was in Nigeria. And so it was like, are you guys getting married? What's the plan and everything like that. Over the years, my mom gave me a lot of advice, but I didn't really get much premarital advice, like what's it like? Was it like? How are you guys coping with this? Things like, which I would ask someone now. So no, and not from my friends really. We all, I think at that time in Nigeria as well, everybody wanted to get married. It was like, you're 29. Hey, okay, in your father's house. So I didn't really get much advice that I could even look back on.
Oh, wow.
And if I did from anybody, I'm sorry, I've forgotten.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, two things I want to touch on. Whether looking back now, you feel like it would have been helpful if you had gotten some advice. But then the good side of maybe you not getting advice is then you get to do things on your own. I think now, sometimes I say, I watch, videos of people talk about marriage, or you hear people giving the advice of marriage. And I think sometimes if you're not careful, you can take on everything, and you shouldn't, because not everything's going to work for your marriage. Like we said before, DIY, obviously go to couples therapy, but just doing things, learning things and doing things in your own way, I think is helpful. So I'll touch on that. And then the other thing was, where you said, they said, you're 29, you haven't get married. So my second thing was, I talked about in my last episode, just the eagerness to want to get married. Now that I've been wanting to get married since I was 25. So not even now that I'm 30, but just feeling like, okay, I'm at that stage now, I should get married, or just feeling this strong desire or desperation to get married. So did you feel that at that time?
I think initially I didn't even think much about marriage. And when I was speaking to the ladies I told you yesterday, I got all these different things. One said, I've been wanting to marry since I was 15.
Oh, wow.
I'd planned everything. One said, it just happened. We're all getting married. I met someone, I got married. Yeah. And I think with us, because like I said, we lived together for a little while, the next step was marriage. So we're getting married.
Yeah. So you didn't feel eager to get married?
Well, I was eager in a way, but I think I was eager from what I perceived was it's time to get married.
Okay, fair enough. Not before.
I think, nearer the time, I thought this is the person I want to marry. So I guess I was eager about that. Yeah. But
not in general.
It wasn't, we were sort of here. Maybe if I was in Lagos, all my friends were stressed. Everybody was getting married. People would come to you, it's your turn. What they do then, they do now. Yeah. All sorts of little silly things that aunties of people do, which is so unnecessary to me. They did it. I didn't feel that pressure.
Because you were here.
Because I was here. And because we were sort of isolated. We did a lot of things together. We didn't really go out that much anymore. And so I didn't feel that pressure. But I guess I still sort of felt it, because I thought, okay, now we've been living together for years. It's time to get married. So I was ready to get married. And we almost just discussed it, that, okay, so should we get married next year? There was no, will you marry me?
Oh, wow.
But I didn't care. It was because we just planned everything.
Okay, fair enough.
It's like, when do you think we should get married? And maybe April will work and things like that. So sometimes I laugh when I see a lot of people with all this kneeling down and all the. I can see why people do it. Yeah. But to me, if someone didn't do it and you're in a place where. Because that was our proposal. We were proposing together. No.
You proposed to me.
But like you said, do you think we should get married next year? And I said, maybe let me speak to my mom, speak to your mom, let's see. And that's how we sort of did it. Because we were living together. We knew we were going to get married. Yeah. So we didn't do any fancy, anything. We talked about rings, let's get a ring. We did all that. So I guess maybe all my friends were proposed and I'm the only one. gosh.
I mean, no, propose to me. No. I mean, I don't really care about propose to me. That one I care about. Do a proposal. I don't care how grand or whatever it is, but do a proposal. That one I really want. Okay, let's then talk about the other side. When we talked about advice and you said you didn't really get much.
Yeah.
Upon reflection, do you think it would have been helpful for you?
I think, yes, somewhat. I think many of us knew how marriages were from our parents, from society. Yeah. So we could see that it wasn't a bed of roses always. I mean, there were some really beautiful marriages. But I think it would have helped a bit. Just to, especially if I had some concerns, if I'd found someone to say, I'm noticing this or that sort of thing, it would have been good to talk to someone. I think it would have been good. I think hopefully it would have been good advice that I would have got. Just that, also, how do you handle it? What's it like? Those sort of things. And also the fact that, I mean, I knew because my mom would say, so I sort of got some advice that, the Yoruba say, ile oko, ile eko. That's probably what some people just tell their children. Yeah. Nothing else. That's the advice parents, if they don't want to talk about, or shesuru, or all sorts of silly things, that it's the Yoruba language that makes it sound really bad. About konru. Make sure when it's sleeping? Time to sleep, what they mean is always be available to give.
Okay,
they say,
interesting.
I can't remember. They have a way they say it.
Interesting.
That's all they say to you. They don't say anything else. They say you must never. And I didn't even get that really. I'm just saying, but I heard it over time. Or my friends who were talking, we laugh and say that's the most I got from my auntie or from my mom. So yes, I didn't really have premarital counsel. We did have in the end. Well, it was ridiculous because when we had it, everything was planned. I recommend you have it at least a year if you have time. Some people fall in love very quickly. They do love each other. They don't have all that time. But you don't do it when they've taken their Ashwebi and everything. So am I going to go back to them and say, in that marital counseling,
So would you say people should do premarital counselling before they even get proposed to, before you have the ring?
Yeah, if you're in a relationship and obviously, no, maybe not, because why are you doing premarital if you guys want proposal? Yeah. We assumed we were getting married, so I would have suggested we did it. In that year that we then talked about it and we're buying rings and in Nigeria it's April and we're talking about it maybe June the year before or so. Then we should have been doing premarital counseling, which we probably should have done before. We knew we were getting married. Yeah. Because it opens a lot of things that you can discuss. And they're not all negative. It actually highlights something that, I'm so glad. You can talk, you can know each other, but when it's an independent session and you're talking or you're doing exercises, some things help. And some people do hold on to things till they get married. And some of it, if you've got a good counselor, some of it will slip out. Some people, you will not know what they're like because they want to get married. Male or female. You think it's only female. Some guys want to get married. Yeah. And you will not see a true person.
Not many of them want to get married, but all the rest.
It's always been the same. But there are some who do want to get married. Or when they're getting older, some guy really, really want to get married. But you will know because you assume this traditional thing of, I'm the one. Some men really want to get married. But they may not show it.
Where are they?
To you. They're there somewhere. Yeah.
Okay. This is, I guess, a good continuation of what you said. You said that how some people, I guess, hide themselves, so you don't really know who they are before they get married. And I hear people say, you should know yourself, before you get married. I've heard that said quite a lot because if you don't, it's easy for you to go there and then kind of misplace yourself. Yes. Even when women have children, a lot of people say, they kind of lose themselves and they don't know who they are now, like because they're now somebody's wife and somebody's mother as opposed to who you are as a person. So why is that important? Why do you think that marriage can affect someone's identity, and why is that self-awareness important?
It's actually really important. I mean, Christian part of it is know yourself through God. Let God teach you who you are. Let's now come to the day-to-day part of it. When you bring that into you need to know yourself. You can't pretend yourself that you're patient when you're not. Get to know yourself properly. Get to know what you want from marriage. You can't just go into marriage, you don't know, you just want to get married. What do I want from marriage? I want companionship all the time. I want someone I can discuss things with, or I just want to have children and know I'm in a stable home. Just be truthful. Get to know yourself, because when you marriage will test you. And I'm saying this and I'm hoping I'm not coming, because I think marriage is one of the most beautiful things.
I love that.
Thank
you,
do.
Aunty, for saying
I
that.
would encourage, I know not everybody may get married, and I still don't want to accept that. But do you see what I mean? Even Apostle Paul said it. I mean, We don't want to hear that, we women. But the point of the matter is, it's a beautiful thing. That's your person. That's a person that when you're alone, you talk about things, you laugh about things, you fight about things, but that is your person. So I think it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. You make plans together. Some of the plans that we made came to pass, to fruition. What do you guys use? Because we planned it, we talked about it, and we say, this is what we want to do. And we would say, okay, should we go and look at the house again that we want to buy? We didn't have pot to piss in, as they say. We didn't have But we had, like I said, he had potential. I was going to manage this. So we used to, it's good to have your person. So marriage is a beautiful thing. And like God has done it so that it's to help aid God's plan.
Yeah.
Have your children, if you have them in a stable environment, and so on and so forth. We all know, you know that, I know that. Okay. But I think you also have to know yourself as the person that you are. If you're weak in some areas, know you're weak in some areas. And because if you don't, you can get absorbed, which is this thing we're talking about, into, especially if someone who's a strong personality, you can get absorbed into it. You're talking about money. The person has a lot more than you. If you don't know yourself and can stand your ground or can have clarity on certain things, you're just going to follow the leader. You're just going to be following. You lose yourself. And then women and men, but I'm just talking about women now, who carry things as a badge. Oh, I want the girlfriend. Oh, I'm engaged. Oh, I'm married. You know what I mean? When they carry all those badges and they themselves disappear because this is what they carry. When you get into marriage and you carry a wife, you will see so many things. So you've got to understand, so I'm not a patient person and this person is not a patient person. How do we maneuver it? But if you don't know yourself and you don't mature, marriage is about maturity. You know when you said age about when we got married? You could be 24 and be more matured than probably I was.
Yes.
You have to be matured. You have to be spiritually matured. Because if you don't know yourself as well in God, okay, how can you maneuver a spiritual relationship with your husband? Do you see what I mean? You don't know how to pray yourself. You don't know how to listen to God yourself. And then you're going, what if you go with someone who doesn't know that as well? Then that's not one of the let's define. That's a traditional. You know yourself in God. Let him know himself. Or both of you be transparent about where you are. Some people don't talk about the religious leaning at all. The ones that do is if it's a Muslim and you're Christian, that's clear. But as Christians, some people never prayed together before they got married.
Why is that important?
Oh, it's so important. It's so important because if you don't pray together, you can't say, God, I'm really anxious. Pray for me. You just say, I'm really anxious, and he'll give you the, just calm down, breathe in, breathe out. Have a husband or a wife that can pray for you before you go out. It's so important. It's part of your intimacy. It's part of this that I'm telling about the beauty of marriage. You can say, please pray for me. And he knows what you're like. I remember when I used to go for job interviews and I'd come out and say, I got the job. I remember my husband would say, really? No, not in a negative.
That means, what do you go and say then?
That was a friendship that was there. What do you tell them that you've got this job? I go, you see, you underestimate me, that sort of thing. But I wouldn't say that before I went. I said, hold my hand and pray with me. So all that worked and all that was nice. It's important to be aware of where he is spiritually, where you are. You in particular, because you asked about the person. Be matured enough to marry. Because marriage is not a playing ground. And if you still throw tantrums without resolving issues, it's not going to work. The person may accept it for a while, but when the person then throws tantrums, how do you deal with it? And so many other little things. And you're going to bring children into it. So if you don't know yourself, and you, like I was saying, and you wear these badges, when things are difficult, your fear now is, I don't want to lose that badge. I don't want to lose that badge. You're not the person. You're not your core person. You don't even know who they are. And you lose them in the marriage. It can be easy to lose yourself in a marriage.
Scary.
But it can be a beautiful thing as well. Like I said to you, if you know yourself in a marriage, it's a beautiful thing because you think, oh, this is how I want things to work because I know I'm like this. Or if you like reading at night, or you're a night person, someone's a morning person, and you're not identifying that and knowing yourself to say, how do we work it out? You're going to clash. But if you know yourself, you've already I like to sleep late. That sort of, I'm just giving trivia now. They're more important things. You can then work together with it. And some people don't know themselves at all. They just jump in and they find out about themselves there
which is a scary place.
It's a very scary place.
But I guess that's why premarital counselling is important, isn't it? I'm assuming some of these things will potentially come up in, the conversation.
Some will, but people sometimes don't really share. Let's just be truthful. Unless you're very comfortable with people, or you do separate ones. Some people do separate and together. They do.
Okay.
This is the knowing yourself.
Oh, okay,
or maybe that's the one in my head I think people should do.
What you think they should do separate?
I think it's premarital counselling.
Yeah.
But you're speaking to someone and they're asking what your intention is about marriage. Yeah. You don't have an audience. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Do you understand this thing? What is it like? What's this? And the person as well. And then you also do together. You must do together.
Yes.
But if you don't know yourself, so it's not everybody. So people are aware. They don't need it. I think marriage is a lot of things and it's a long, long time. So, and you need to know yourself that am I this person at 20? Is it the person for me at 30? Is it the person for me at 40? You don't know what you're going to be like as well. But at least to sort of search yourself and try and understand what it is you want. No, but I don't know if people do it. I recommend that.
That's a good one.
Because it's about marriage you're going in there. It's premarital. It's not that I'm doing counseling. Some people do counseling and they identify that. And then when you come together, because some people can go through that 6 months of premarital counseling and they don't tell the truth. You can. Why can't you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
If your reason for marrying isn't pure.
Yeah.
But if you want to marry this person, you want it to work and you're prepared to think, if it's not going to work, we'll be friends. It's best to go our way. Then you go into premarital counseling with the truth.
Yeah, that's true.
Some people say, I save a lot. It's just I had to do this. They don't save a penny. Or if my friends are wearing that Dior bag, I'm gonna get it. And you want to buy a house or a car, but you don't tell them that I'm going to get it. Then after I get it, my body calms down. It's trivia, but it leads to bigger things. You have to talk about children.
Yes.
How you going to raise? You have to know yourself.
Yeah.
I'm a bit of a control freak. That sort of thing. I chatted that I'm going to leave my husband out of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Get to know yourself because the counselor will ask you that. Yeah. But if you're doing premarital on your own, the person would ask you, how would you feel about this? You don't know everything.
Yeah.
You don't even know yourself fully. The person you're marrying doesn't know himself fully. You'll find out when you marry, but try at least to try to know yourself.
Yeah. We're going to go back to you talking about marriage is beautiful because I think I don't know. You'd think that I've been married before. I think in a past life I was probably married.
You were married, yeah. I think it's charming.
I'm just really excited about it, and I think I know that it's difficult. Like, not because I've experienced it, because I've seen and I've heard people, talk about their challenges and things like that. But on the flip side, I just think it's such a great thing.
It's a great thing.
So I think lately I hear a lot of people even people that are married, when you ask them, there's like this. Like this, I'm just like, you people are tired already. Like some of them are still like quite early. So when I hear people talk about how beautiful marriage is, it excites me because I'm like, I feel like we should hear more of this. Yeah. But we'll come back to that. I kind of want to touch on the challenges of marriage. I watched this video of this lady, and I'll read the quote that she said. I mentioned it in my last episode. She said, sometimes it's not the biggest storm that breaks the marriage. Yeah. It's the lack of strategy during the storm that makes things uneasy and creates tension and resentment. Yeah. And I think you kind of not touched on it, but we talked about secrets. Those little things that you don't see as anything can then become a big thing and then destroy marriage. So my question is, what are your thoughts on that statement, and maybe what were some of the hardest seasons of your marriage, and how did you guys deal with that?
Yeah, I think. What was that quote again?
So sometimes it's not the biggest storm that breaks the marriage. It's the lack of strategy during the storm that makes things uneasy and creates tension and resentment.
Yes. And it's true. When you speak to couples who have broken up, it's not actually what's happened. Not all of them, some of them, because some things will happen and the marriage will break no matter what. Yeah. But generally, somebody will just say, I've had enough. And then you're thinking, what? Yeah. But because right through for quite a while, things have been going on. You haven't been on the same page. You're fighting each other. Do you see what I mean? You're supposed to always fight for that marriage. You can become enemies quickly in a marriage. I'll tell you that. You can. Because then everybody's trying to prove a point. So that's what she's saying about strategy. If you have a strategy about marriage, that both of you know this marriage is going to work. When you were giving your vows, I know people write beautiful vows now. If we look at the traditional, so those are traditional things. Me, I like traditional vows. Those vows, I wish I had it here and I read it to you. To me, it's one of the most beautiful things. And I'll see if I can find it and just read it to you. Okay. I love the traditional vows because it really just breaks down to you almost in advance that marriage is not a bed of roses without saying it like that. It's telling you for better, for worse. when you're wearing that gown, and if I was going to wear mine, Vera Wang would have made mine.
Okay.
When you're wearing that Vera Wang gown, you don't want to hear for worse.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Some people change it.
Yeah, and people say for better.
Yeah.
We say it because we say, we are affirming. That's not when you're affirming, because for richer, for poorer. If very quick, my dad at one time in our lives, for 7 years, things were very, very rough. And my dad was the champion of the marriage. He was one that had the money. We never suffered for anything. But at one time, things were very, very rough. And I don't think even he would have expected it. And we were almost grown. So I'm just telling you that if my mom was thinking, what's this for us?
Yeah.
But that is what it is. You have to have a strategy. And it's not... In fact, some of it, you sit down, you write it. We used to write some things that I found it the other day, actually, that you had to write, what do you want from marriage? And then you exchange it with each other at the counseling. Yeah, you write 5 things. They were told, write 5 things. And I tell you the truth, it didn't change. When I think back and I think of the things that went wrong, what you said didn't change. Is the strategy behind it. Was I then looking at it and thinking, okay, because this is what he wants, this is how we'll do it. Yeah. Or he looking at mine, I said, this is what she wants in a marriage, and I must remember it all the time. So these little things happen. Some people keep quiet. They're holding it in for whatever reason. Yeah. You start to resent someone, and both of you are not coming together to save that marriage. Everybody's plan. Then it will break up. Something small will happen. Yeah. Because there'll be little storms, and there'll be a big storm. Yeah. I want to say there could be. There are. Yeah. It may not be your cousin. Maybe an external storm for both of you. Yeah. If you haven't learned to manage the little storms, how will you manage that one? Yeah. So when that one comes, many people break up. You speak to them 10 years later, and they just, you should just have been calmer. Many people that I've spoken to, because you just have been calmer. Even in the car, I told you yesterday, my friend said to me that sometimes I think back and I think, should I just have let it go like that? Oh. But then we talked about it again. I said, but the person you are now that's thinking back is because you let it go. You know what I mean? So you've grown and you're reflective. But it's true, some things, because of little things that you didn't deal with together, and everybody was planning their own strategy and there was not one strategy.
Yeah, I think that's true. Something that I've heard recently a lot is sometimes in marriage people forget that we're on the same team. They're fighting for the same thing. Fighting
each other instead of for the marriage. The team. Let's fight for us to stay together, to enjoy our marriage, to be friends again, because you're not friends at that time. I'm talking to you. But then you have to, I'm not talking to you. You don't have children. When you have your children, you'll see them going to nursery. You go, Mom, I'm not talking to Jane or something, And then tomorrow when you go and pick your child, again. They're friends again. We have to have that simplicity in marriage, that we're in this together. Yeah. We're friends. Or else we're going to talk to tomorrow. If you fight Jane tomorrow again, they come together and that's it. We start fighting each other, and that's what erodes the marriage.
Oh, scary.
They're scary, yes.
Scary, but
scary.
Exciting.
It's scary because you have to take marriage. It's very, very important. Let's not trivialize it. It's living together with someone for a very long time. Caring for that person. That's why I said love when you asked me a question. Yes. That you see, when you love someone, you care for them, you're kind to them. And when you're kind to your wife or your husband, when he fails a bit or makes some mistakes, because you're kind, because you're loving, you start from there. It may not work, it may explode, but you start from there. Not that on social media, those guys that were talking, they said men they have all these words that people use now. When you start from there, there's no love. Love is actually thinking, this is my partner, it mustn't fail. Both of them must say, this thing must not fail. I know if a man that said to me, I told my wife, you better watch yourself because this marriage, you need to the end. So let's go try. Because this one that you're doing,
I don't have time for it.
I don't have time, and I'm not going, and you're not going. That. And when I heard that, I thought, that's nice. And that's not the first time I heard a man say that. And I'm sure many men say that. I'm just that women are the ones that we know. Say, I'm going to fight for my marriage. There are many, many men. And, he said it in such a funny way. And I could see him telling her she's trying to still be angry. I'm not going anywhere. So.
That's nice. I love that. That's really lovely. You talked about love. And I think you're kind of separating love from love, which I like. Yeah. So what role does love actually play in a marriage?
The one I'm talking about.
Yes, because And maybe explain the one
Yes,
you're talking about.
The one I'm talking about it's that love that we're Christians, so the love of Jesus Christ, that he's always there, even when you mess up and things. And I'm not saying people should then think, oh, love means I mess up.
Yeah.
It's that love of just really caring about someone.
Yeah.
You know, you want to feed them, they want to feed you. Yeah. You're kind to them in how you speak to them, even when you're not so happy. You know, you don't say things and say, oh, but you know me now. When I just start talking, no. That's not love.
Yeah.
You know, love is wondering how they're feeling. You know, or when you know you've done something, love is coming back and saying, I messed up. I know I messed up. Yeah. It doesn't take away from you being the head of the family, or for you being the bread, if, like you said about women, being the one that's earning more. Yeah. It happens, these things. It's kind, to me, if I was looking back at marriage and I want a kind man. I want a kind.
That's on my list.
It's so important, you know, because and love is all about, if you love someone, you'll help them. You'll help them make the best of themselves. You see couples who plan together and say, my wife is so good at, communicating. I saw there's this road in Switzerland and I think it'll be good for it. Not the fear that, if she gets that road, she's now going to move from 70K to 200K. Yeah. You know, but both of you have to feel like that. You have to love each other.
Nice. All right, let's talk about children.
Yes.
We talked about identity and, you know, the self-awareness of, like, you know who you are before marriage. I also kind of mentioned it briefly where I've heard people say, you know, sometimes when you have children, that number one changes the dynamic of your marriage. And you can also kind of lose yourself. Something that I find interesting is as soon as you have children, they start calling you mummy, this person, mama. No.
Some people love it.
I mean, yes, because, but at the same time, I'm like, does that also maybe kind of play a part in you kind of not changing, but you kind of losing yourself because then you now become someone's mother. But I mean, it's a new season, it's a new phase of your life, isn't it? So you're no longer Mary. I am now responsible for somebody else, isn't it? So what should people know about how having children changes the dynamic in a marriage?
It does. It's just
okay. I love that you just said it does.
Children will change the dynamics in marriage, and children are different as well. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. Changing the dynamics, like you said, you've become mama something at the end of the day. Yeah. So embrace it. Yeah. And those who love the badge, oh God, you know, not mama. You know. So, but the important thing is, if you already know yourself and you know the things you want to do, and you guys have a strategy, I like the word that woman used. Children come into it, because let's not lie, most people know they're going to have children. So why should it really create an adverse effect on marriage? So you know you're going to be having children. So think about it. Think about what you're like. Think about what he's like. Yeah. And then know that when children come, things will change. Yeah. Some people, it changes for the better. They just really embrace it as a couple and they do everything together. And, you know, in the society we're in now, I see young people and I see how intentional some men are. Yeah. You know, my dad, he didn't help with maybe he thinks, well, my dad, it's as if he didn't have children in his past life. Oh. So just bathe the child and from the morning, just give him the child and you can go and do whatever you want. You know, some men are like that. But many women as well, and I'll come to the changing, I just want to, this is now advice, and I don't want to give any.
No, please do.
I didn't want to really, but is that many women, because we had the child in us, we gave birth to the child. That's why I use the word badge. We then think that this badge that I've been using to show all my women, prepare all the women in the world, it's easy to prepare your partner. Yeah. That, you know, the child is this, I know better, I know this. Some men don't even want to change nappies anyway. So if you give them a chance, they will just not change it. It's, don't start over-owning that role and thinking, you know, because of that, I'm going to neglect my partner. Yeah. I'm going to then face this because this is so important. It is important. Yeah. You've brought a life into this world. Yeah. But let the child coming in improve the dynamics, make both of you closer, because you're not planning for someone else. It's not a house that you want to buy that you were planning for before. You're not planning for someone else. Talk about it. Look at your child's personality together. Do things. Don't leave it to one person. Yeah. Some women will leave is to the man, he's the one that knows how to plan the money for the future. Some people will say, she's the one that does. They do everything together so that, because it will take time from you. Or some of the things you used to do, you can't do. Yeah. So let's be truthful. Some children won't sleep. And only their mom can put them to bed. Yeah. It doesn't make you less. Yeah. It just means she's probably the one that, you know, if you've been breastfeeding them, some children don't grow out of breastfeeding, even though they stop breastfeeding.
Yeah.
They still lean in a particular direction. But at the end of the day, it's both of you knowing that there's an impact to this. So don't say, I'm going to put this child to bed and all that, and then that's the end of the evening for both of us.
Yeah.
Find time for both of you in a marriage, because you have to, because you know what? They were there. They were not there when you married them.
Yes, and they're gonna go at some point.
They're going to go, and when they go, you children, you young generation, they go without looking back. So the years together, so that it doesn't leave a gap later.
Yeah.
Do everything together. It's hard. It can be hard.
Yeah.
Financially, it can be hard for some people.
Yeah.
But if you're together in it, you'll find a way around it. If some people want to help you, because children they do change the dynamics.
Yeah.
Let people help. You know. You let them help you. Obviously, you have to trust them.
Yeah.
Sometimes let them help you so that you can find yourself together again. You can do things together, because it shouldn't be adverse, but it can be. Some people, when they start having children, they start living separate lives.
Yeah.
Because one owns it more. And it could be the man, because I'm saying it's usually the woman.
Yeah.
And then the other person's having their own separate life. By the time you decide that, okay, you want to do things, he's moved or she's moved in her thinking from where you were before. So grow together.
I love that.
The children.
I love
You
that.
do?
Actually. Yeah. Okay, just a couple more and then we'll finish. We've talked about premarital counselling, and I mentioned about watching videos, and I think also I've kind of been, I want to say, lucky enough. You were saying that you didn't get much advice, and you also didn't have people around you that
social
were married.
media as well.
Yeah. So you have
There's
social
a
media.
lot
you have,
on marriage.
Yes, you have so many. But how do we? I mean, I'm not a parent yet, but as parents, and the church community, how do you think that we can help the young ones or younger people, or even people like myself, prepare better for marriage? Like, what are you teaching your kids about marriage, and the kids around you? Like, what would you say?
Yeah. I think as a community, the church, I mean, some churches are really good at this. I'll tell you that. I just don't want to name some are really good at it. Yeah. But many churches just don't talk about it. And then if you're like me, when I was young, you guys will know what this is, Mills and Bones, where this Mills and Bones, they were these romance novels. Oh my God, that's what we used to read. So to us, Jake is gonna come, or Ben, whoever they are. They were not even Nigerian names. So what were we thinking? And sweep you off into the sunset, and teach them that marriage is beautiful, because many children see that a difficult marriage that their parents have had, and they think that's what it is. So they start to strategize, not the strategy we were talking about, strategize, when I get there, this, the other. And also then teach them that it's not a bed of roses. So some people don't talk about it and think, oh, I'll be different. I don't know how Mary did hers. Nobody is any special. It's working together at it. So teach them that it's not a bed of roses. It's a beautiful thing, but like we say, with every rose there's a thorn. There's always little things. Teach each other, talk to each other about friendship outside marriage. It's very, very important. Emotional relationships develop. You love your wife, you love your husband. Just talk to them about things. Tell them how to regroup, how to repair, how to support each other. And tell some people the truth. You have anger issues. If you are going to marry this person, or tell them those sort of things. So the church is actually key to that. And it's not always in service, but I don't see why in service sometimes you don't talk about marriage. And everybody's transparent, but to have specialized sessions on marriage, and families should do that. I think our generation will do that a lot more, because I talk to my children about marriage. And I tell my children that, I also even say to my children that if I start behaving like we have someone, just call the person's name and I'll pull myself back, because we thought the person was not very good with supporting in marriage. That's so as much as I'm teaching my child, I'm telling them that when I come and start doing some silly mother-in-law nonsense, call me that name. We need to call me that name. I will know what you mean. That sort of thing. But teach your children, teach your sons in particular, because in the generation we're in now, we complain a lot about men. And then I see the children that some of us are raising, the boys that some of us are raising, and they're probably even worse than the men. So are we forgetting, or are we think our children are different? Tell them about, you can't do some things. And, we being Christians, I don't want to dwell too much on this is things, but there are some patterns. Forget the spiritual part of it. Don't forget the spiritual part of it, because that's there. You pick it up and you think, I don't want to do it. But if things start to happen, you think, well, my dad did it, and in the end, it's happy now. Tell your children that, can you see a pattern in the male side of my family, or that these are patterns that they may learn. They may be learned.
Yeah.
They may even be spiritual. Start being aware of it so that you don't want that in your marriage.
Yes.
You tell your boys that or your girls that.
Yeah.
And you also, when you see your girls, some things they do, I don't like you won't find a husband with this behavior.
They love to say that.
Yeah, they love to say that.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to correct you, but then
that's not the right way.
That's not the right way. But do tell them that this doesn't work. With your friends may not like how you're behaving.
Yeah.
You're not saying your husband or something.
Yeah.
And if it was you, would you like this person? Stop doing this because you're not letting me talk.
Yeah.
And if you're not letting me talk, what you're saying is that when you're in a marriage, you won't let your husband or wife talk.
Yeah.
So I do that with my children subtly, and
nice.
I hope my daughter isn't watching this because she's talking to me now, or my son, you know. But I don't want my children or the men or the women to do things that we saw was wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to support them and their traits.
Yeah.
Families.
Yes, there are.
You know, so just tell them this is a trait.
Yeah.
Pick it up now and know how you're going to manage it. And I also say, young people these days don't have time for nonsense. So if you all think you were going to continue like this, you don't want a broken home.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. So we need to just support them. We need to talk to them more. I wish someone had spoken to me. Like I said to you, I will speak to people if they want me to tell them. I will tell them. Nice. You know what I mean? It's important. We had one little incident recently, and I said, I'm calling you girl group. Mm-hmm. We're going to deal with this issue, you know, that sort of thing, because I picked up this in this person, and we don't want this person to take it into a marriage. The person is not my daughter. She is my daughter, but you know, that sort of thing. And in what we talk about, so that everybody is aware that we picked this. Yeah. This is not the way to do it. Good. You know, you go and sort it. We're not telling you so because of that every morning go and cook, go and do it, but you go and sort it. Be aware of it. So it's important.
Okay. This has been a really lovely conversation. This has been really good, and I hope you guys are picking something out of this. It's been really, really good and insightful. But just before we end, Aunty, you talked about how beautiful marriage is. Yes. Very quickly, what would you say is the two most beautiful thing about marriage? I want to say one, but maybe I should say two. Or should I say one? Let's say one. Oh. What would you say is the one most beautiful thing, in your opinion, about marriage? I'm sure there's loads, but just pick one.
I think is growing together. When you look back to where you are at certain stages in your life and you look back to where you were then, if you love each other, you will even laugh at each other and say, do you remember? Or you get people that say, it's not because I loved you. You know, it's that friendship. Find friendship in your marriage. Some people marry friends. Yeah. Or some people say, we have to be friends first. You can find it, even if you didn't start as friends. You started as lovers or it was all exciting. Find that friendship in your marriage. And you'll do everything together. You'll plan, you'll grow together. And when you do that, you'll do well in every area. I tell you, financially, you'll do well spiritually. Your children will enjoy you. You'll enjoy each other. Just find that, I would say love, but I would probably say friendship. But you know what I mean? If you love each other, hopefully you'll find friendship in it. And you'll just grow beautifully together. Marriage is a beautiful thing.
Go and get married, guys. Marriage is beautiful. Go and get married. So when you think about your journey, love, family, everything in between, what would you say that you're most proud of?
Wow. I didn't do many things right. We both didn't do many things right, and we both didn't work out many things that were going wrong. So I'll tell you that. But I think the most beautiful thing that's come out of the marriage is, everybody will say this, the children. And it's because we were both very intentional about them. Yeah. And I prayed a lot that, you know, it's the children, and I pray continuously because the children now is not. And I think, even though you don't know where we are now, the friendship we have now is a testament of the storms and everything we went through, which we weren't very good at solving. But because we see what we've done in the marriage, that's it. And then the money that we made, he made a lot of money. And I think that it was the friendship and the love and the support that I gave him when he was trying to make that money. I wasn't going to be making that money at that time because I was having children and everything. And he was able to do it. I think so that's where that able to do it. I understood that he would do it better at this stage.
Yeah.
Let him do it, you know.
That's good.
And I let him. I didn't let my ego come into that. Me too. My parents sent me to private school now. We both did this.
Yeah.
I allowed for him to do that because at that time I realized he would do it better.
Yeah, I love that.
So
I know I say I love that a lot, but I do.
Yeah.
I think I said to someone lately, and an uncle said to me years ago, he said sometimes the issues in marriage is because sometimes the wife is trying to play the husband's role and the husband's trying to play the wife role. So I love that you said just whatever works. If you know that he's going to be better in this, allow him to do that. And if he knows that you'd be better in this, then allow, because then it just makes it flourish and makes everything work better.
Yes,
so
I knew it would be better. So let him go and do it. And he did it really, really well.
There you go.
And when he did it really well, I then benefited.
There you go. There you go.
I then benefited from him, you know.
Ah, this has been so lovely, Aunty. Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
My
I
last
didn't think I'd have a lot to say.
You had so much to say, and I wish you had more
gems
time.
to say. I just thought I'm
gems.
just going to go and share.
No, but you've shared so much gems, and I love it. But what's one thing that you want the listeners to take away from this conversation after all the things that we've said?
Know that the person you're marrying, make the person you're marrying your person. When you make them your person, you can do everything. And, you know, I said it, even when it's not about how clever the person is or how this you are, if they're your person, if somebody's your person, you'll do everything together and you'll have a beautiful marriage. There's even in the times of storms, you know, and pray together and pray yourself. You know, just have God in it. It's so important. We didn't talk about that much. To me, God is so key in the marriage, because when you have nobody to talk to, know that you better go and talk to God. After you talk to God, then you can go and talk to the him. Person. It's really, really important. Or else you just cry alone, fight alone. You know, is your person, fight him. Is your person, fight her. Do you see what I mean? But fight for the marriage.
You're on the same team.
That's the word. No, you're one team.
Thank you so much, Aunty. This was great.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
I was thinking as well. I was learning things from it that I remember this. Maybe I should have done this way, but you know, I can say I gave my bit in every stage, and some bits I didn't give my bit, obviously.
But I mean, that's life in general.
Sometimes you don't do so well, but you think back. I think that's what's important in marriage. You know, when we talk now, we laugh at each other. And I say, I had to choose again. I cannot marry someone with your personality. And he also said the other day that, thank you for allowing me.
Nice.
That's why he said, thank you for allowing me to do. It's not like you were dumb. You know, he did think I was, but it's not like he said, thank you for allowing me to follow through what I felt. He had a vision.
Nice.
And I just allowed him to follow through.
Love that.
So, yeah.
Thank you, Aunty, so much. And thank you guys so much for listening. Hope you have enjoyed this conversation. I have had a blast. I have learned so much and it's been really, really insightful. So I hope there's something that you guys can take away from this conversation. Thank you again for joining. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Like, comment and subscribe. If you want to know more, if you want to hear more from me, please let me know. I think it would be good to have a part 2 of this conversation. I think you can never talk about marriage enough. There's so many things to always say. So if there's anything that you guys would like me to touch on or any angle that you think would be good to kind of, you know, explore, please do let me know. Thank you all very much and I'll catch you guys in the next episode.